Welcome back to another deep dive with us. Today, we're going to be looking at a pretty cool spot, and I think a lot of you have probably already been there,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you live in LA or you've
Mm-hmm.
been there. The Farmers Market at 3rd and Fairfax.
Mm-hmm.
We've got some awesome historical photos in the source material, so highly recommend checking those out as we go along here.
Yeah.
But, when you think of a farmer's market, it seems pretty simple, right? Like, what's
Yeah.
the big deal?
Right.
But this place has a history that is way more wild than you might think.
Hmm.
We're talking oil,
Mm-hmm.
we're talking celebrity sightings, even a little bit of presidential history.
Yeah, and that's what I think is so fascinating about this particular spot.
Okay.
It really mirrors the evolution of Los Angeles in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
We're going to be starting way back in 1880 when this area was just A.F. Gilmore's dairy farm.
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine that cows grazing?
That's wild.
Where we have all these shops and restaurants now?
That is crazy to picture.
I know.
And then suddenly in 1900, oil is discovered and transforms the entire landscape into an oil field.
Yeah, huge turning point.
Yeah.
Not just for the Gilmores, but for Los Angeles as a whole.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of set the stage for the growth of LA in the early 20th century.
Absolutely.
But of course, oil booms, they don't last forever.
No.
So that brings us to the 1930s and the birth of the farmers market as we know it today. And it's really interesting to think about the context here
Yeah.
because this is the Great Depression.
Right.
And two entrepreneurs, Fred Beck and Roger Dahlhelm, they approached E.B. Gilmore. He was A.F. Gilmore's son
Mm-hmm.
with an idea.
Yeah, with a very simple idea.
Yeah.
Just a farmer's market, a place where local farmers could sell directly to customers from the backs of their trucks.
Oh, wow. So like a real,
Real simple, real grassroots.
yeah.
And it was a very low-risk venture at the time.
Yeah, especially during the Depression.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
And what's amazing is that E.B. Gilmore, he could have easily just dismissed it.
Yeah.
He said, okay, let's try this.
I love that attitude. Right.
Yeah.
Open to possibility.
Just see what happens.
Yeah.
And so it's July 1934 when this very simple concept comes to life. Just a dozen farmers, their trucks, and fresh produce.
That's it.
No fancy stalls, no.
No celebrity chefs.
Yeah.
Just that direct connection.
Yeah, that's amazing. And it took off.
It did. And they held their first fall festival in October of that same year.
Oh, wow. So it was like immediately.
Immediate success.
Yeah.
And it speaks to that, I think, the need for community,
Yeah.
for fresh local goods, even when times were tough.
Totally. Even back then, I wonder if people were really looking for something authentic.
Yeah.
Something that connected them to where their food was coming from.
For sure. And as the market thrived, it quickly transitioned from those makeshift truck setups
Yeah.
to more permanent structures and developed its own kind of charm along the way.
Yeah. And so this is where we really start to see the farmer's market that we know and love today taking shape.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, groceries remain the heart of the market.
But it didn't stay static.
Yeah.
It started to attract a more diverse group of merchants
Right.
and restaurants.
And it became an experience.
Yeah.
This was before supermarkets and sprawling shopping centers.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So the farmer's market offered something different.
I can just picture it like walking through the open air market.
Yeah.
The smell of the fresh baked bread,
Mm.
the colors, all the produce.
Yeah, the energy.
Yeah, it must have been amazing.
It was, and it attracted a new crowd.
Oh,
Hollywood.
here we go.
Yes.
The Hollywood connection.
I know we can't talk about the farmer's market without talking about all the stars.
No, we can't.
It became a haven for celebrities seeking a taste of normal life.
That makes sense.
Yeah, just blend in and enjoy simple pleasures.
I'm picturing Shirley Temple with an ice cream cone from Brock's Candies,
Oh, yeah.
or Ava Gardner trying on hats.
Classic images for a reason.
Yeah,
It really cemented its place in Hollywood history.
but it was more than just stars being seen at the market, right?
Yeah.
It was about the market shaping Hollywood's image.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It represented this kind of down-to-earth charm that Hollywood embraced.
Okay, so like they wanted to be associated with this.
Totally.
Oh.
This connection to everyday life.
I see. And that's gone on for generations, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's not just old Hollywood.
No.
We've seen everyone from President Eisenhower to the Beatles.
To modern-day chefs like Alton Brown and Gordon Ramsay, Entourage, Jimmy Kimmel Live.
It's like a character in pop culture at this point.
It really is.
It's amazing how this one location has managed to bridge that gap between old Hollywood and the modern era.
It is.
But before we get too lost in the glitz and the glamour,
Yes.
let's rewind a little bit and explore another aspect of the Gilmore family's legacy.
Okay.
On this land, something that predates even the farmers market.
Mm-hmm.
Gilmore Stadium.
Yes.
Now, that's a name that echoes through LA sports history.
It does.
Gilmore Stadium. I mean, can you believe that right where the farmers market stands today, there was once this huge stadium
I know.
hosting everything from football to rodeos,
Mm-hmm.
even midget car racing.
It's crazy.
I know.
Talk about a spectacle.
It really captures that spirit of early 20th century Los Angeles,
Right.
that anything goes entertainment.
Yeah.
And built in 1934, the same year as the farmers market.
Oh, wow.
It was really a testament to E.B. Gilmore's vision.
Yeah, he really seemed to understand
He did.
what would make LA tick.
He knew what people wanted.
Entertainment communities
Yes.
and that pioneering spirit.
Mm-hmm.
But we can't forget about the oil that started it all.
Right.
The Gilmore Oil Company was such a massive presence in Southern California,
Huge.
and it really helped shape those early days of car culture.
It's amazing to think about how oil, something that was discovered almost accidentally, had such a profound impact,
Yeah.
not just on the city, but the entire nation.
Yeah. I mean, their oil really fueled the growth of Los Angeles, literally.
Yeah.
And those blue and green Gilmore gas pumps,
Yeah.
I mean, those were
So everywhere.
a symbol of their reach.
Yeah. And that jingle, Roar with Gilmore,
Oh my gosh.
takes you right back.
I know.
Talk about a memorable brand.
He knew what he was doing.
He did, but, he wasn't just a marketing whiz.
Yeah.
This guy was an innovator.
Total innovator.
I mean, just look at his decision to hire Roscoe Turner,
Oh, yeah.
the famous stunt pilot, to promote Gilmore Oil.
And he flew across the country with Gilmore, the Flying Lion, as his co-pilot.
Wait, a flying lion?
A flying lion.
What?
It was genius.
That's amazing.
Right? Captured the public's imagination. And here's a fun fact.
So,
Gilmore the Lion's journey is actually documented in the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum.
wow, so a marketing stunt turned into a piece of aviation history.
Exactly.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
It just shows you what can happen when you take a risk and embrace the unexpected.
No, I love that story.
Me too. But, Gilmore's innovation wasn't limited to just marketing.
Oh, no.
Think about this. He created the Gaseteria,
Oh, yeah.
the nation's first large-scale self-service gas station.
Can you imagine?
I can't imagine having someone pump my gas every time.
No.
Because we take it for granted now.
Totally.
But back then, that was revolutionary.
Absolutely changed the entire landscape of how we fuel our cars.
What do you think drove him to make such a bold move?
You know, I think he really understood that there was a shift happening in
Yes.
consumer behavior.
I agree.
People were becoming more independent,
Yeah.
more self-reliant,
Yeah.
and the rise of the automobile really symbolized that.
Yeah.
And he capitalized on it. He didn't just anticipate the future, he helped shape it.
Okay, so we've got oil, we've got sports, we've got marketing genius.
Mm-hmm.
But let's bring the focus back to the heart of it all,
Yes.
the farmer's market.
Okay.
We've talked about its evolution from that simple gathering of farmers
Right.
to a more diverse marketplace. But I want to dig a little deeper
Yeah.
into what really makes this place such a beloved community hub.
I think that's a great point. It's easy to get caught up in all the individual stories, the celebrities, the oil barons, the athletes.
Mm-hmm.
But the true magic of the farmers market is that it's remained a community gathering place.
That's it. It's a place where people come together, not just to shop, but to connect, to celebrate,
Yeah,
to experience that sense of shared identity
exactly.
that makes a community thrive.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting how the market has evolved to meet the changing needs of the community while still staying true to those core values.
Well, they had to adapt
Yeah.
and innovate, just like E.B. Gilmore himself.
Right. Think about the Fall Festival.
Oh, yeah.
That's been going strong since the very beginning.
It's 1934.
I mean, it's grown from these merchant-made floats
right.
to this full-blown celebration
Wonder-
with costumes and pumpkin patches and live music.
I know, it's amazing.
It's crazy. And what about that Mardi Gras celebration they started in 1989?
Oh, yeah.
Costumed pet parades.
Cajun music beads flying everywhere.
I mean, that's a far cry from farmers selling produce from their trucks.
It is, but it shows how the market has embraced fun, created these events that bring people together,
Yeah.
foster a sense of shared joy.
And we can't forget about the annual Gilmore Heritage Auto Show.
Right.
Started in 1994.
What a great way to honor the Gilmore Oil Company legacy
Yeah.
and celebrate something that's so important to Los Angeles culture.
Yeah, it's like they've struck this perfect balance
Like that.
between honoring the past and embracing the present.
While keeping that core sense of community alive.
Yeah. And speaking of honoring the past and embracing the present, we have to talk about the farmers market's commitment to music.
Yes.
That Thursday night music program.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, how did something so simple become such a beloved tradition?
It's amazing, isn't it?
It is. It started back in the mid-1980s with local bands playing on the West Patio. Nothing fancy, just a little something to add to the atmosphere.
Boy,
But it really tapped into something special,
it did.
a desire for a shared experience, for connection through music.
For sure.
And it's still going strong today.
I know, it's amazing.
Showcasing local talent, bringing the community together.
It reminds us that sometimes the simplest ideas are the most powerful.
Totally.
Uh-huh.
It's about creating that space where people can relax, enjoy each other's company, and maybe discover some new music.
Exactly. And, we were talking earlier about how the farmers market is kind of an antidote
Yeah.
to the digital overload.
Yeah.
A place where you can unplug, engage your senses,
Yeah.
connect with real people
No.
in a real space.
It's that sense of being present in the moment, surrounded by this vibrant community.
And I think that's what makes it so special.
Yeah, it's not about the transaction.
Yeah.
It's about those connections.
Right. And that makes you wonder.
Makes you wonder if, in our crazy digital world, we're kind of craving those real world connections,
Yeah.
those places where we can just like unplug and actually engage with our community.
That's a really good question. And it's something that keeps coming up as we've been talking about the farmers market.
Yeah.
If this place is like the ideal of community connection. Right.
What does that say about our communities in general?
It makes you think.
Yeah.
And as we've been tracing the market's journey from that simple gathering of farmers to this like bustling cultural hub,
Right.
I keep thinking about all those seemingly small choices that have shaped its identity.
Right. Like allowing those farmers to sell from their trucks in the beginning.
Exactly. Creating those permanent stalls.
Embracing events that bring people together.
It wasn't just about commerce, was it?
No, I think it was really about cultivating community.
Yeah.
It was about creating a space where people felt welcome and connected and engaged.
And I feel like that's something that we often lose sight of
We do.
in modern urban planning.
Yeah.
Like think about your average shopping mall.
Right.
It's all about getting in, buying your stuff and getting out.
Efficient.
Yeah, exactly.
Functional.
But there's no room for like
Right.
spontaneous interaction.
No.
Or that sense of shared experience.
Exact.
It's almost like we've become afraid to really embrace those public spaces.
Yeah, like we retreat into our own little bubbles. And we miss out on all those chance encounters that could lead to something more.
Totally. And those chance meetings, those moments of laughter or reflection, those are what really make a community,
They remind us that we're a part of something bigger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it all comes back to the enduring appeal of the farmers market.
It does.
I mean, it's not just the food or the shopping or even the celebrity sightings.
Yeah.
It's that feeling of community, that feeling of being part of something.
Yeah, that feeling of belonging
Yeah.
that we all crave, whether we realize it or not.
That's so true. And the farmers market, with all its history and energy and that commitment to community, it really shows us how to cultivate that sense of belonging.
It does.
So as we look to the future, how can we apply those lessons?
Yeah.
How can we create more spaces that foster that same sense of connection that we see at the farmers market?
It starts with a shift in perspective, I think.
Yeah.
We need to move beyond just designing functional spaces
Right.
and start thinking about how those spaces can nurture human connection.
So it's not just about like what it looks like.
Right.
It's about how it makes you feel.
Exactly.
Mm.
How can we create a sense of place, a shared identity that brings us together?
And that doesn't have to be like these huge grand gestures or projects, right?
Not at all.
Sometimes it's just about the small intentional choices,
Yeah.
like adding more benches to a park or hosting a community potluck.
Or even just striking up a conversation with a stranger.
Yeah, it's those little acts of kindness, those moments of connection that really make a difference.
Absolutely. They're the glue that holds a community together.
So as you go about your day, take a moment to really look at the spaces you're in.
Mm-hmm.
Are they inviting? Do they encourage interaction?
Good question.
And if not, what can you do
Yeah.
to create a little more connection in your own corner of the world?
Because sometimes the best things happen when we step outside our comfort zones.
I love that.
We put down our phone.
Yeah.
And just engage with the world around us.
You never know what you might find.
Exactly. You might discover that the seeds of community are just waiting to be planted right in your own backyard.
This deep dive into the farmers market has been such an amazing journey.
It has.
I mean, we uncovered not just the history of this one place,
Right.
but also the power of community.
Absolutely.
It reminds us that even in a huge city like LA, we can still create spaces that nurture human connection
For sure.
and celebrate those things that make us human.
It's really a testament to the resilience of the human spirit,
Yeah.
our desire to connect, to belong.
And as the farmers market continues to evolve and grow,
Mm-hmm.
it shows us that community isn't just a place, it's a choice we make every single day.
I love that.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah.
We hope you enjoyed exploring the farmers market
Mm-hmm.
and all its layers of history, culture, and community.
We encourage you to go out and find those special places in your own community.
Yeah.
Ones that bring people together. Until next time, keep exploring, keep connecting.
And keep diving deep.
See you later.